Grand Rising, Great Awakening, and Great Awareness. I'm Kaneen Mafa, and I just want to take a moment to respond to some of the beautiful black gay men who were in my comment section advocating for Deshaun. I want to just take a moment to let you know that by the things that you were saying to me in the comment section, it only further proves what I was saying in the video. Black trans women have so few spaces to figure things out, to be unhinged, to be rude, to be disrespectful. Literally, as a black trans woman moving in this curvy, soft body, I can be walking down the street minding my business, and out of nowhere, a man will emerge with his fully erect penis, hard, showing it to me as if I asked him to. In my DMs, when I used to not be as good at screening people, vetting people, I would have eggplant pictures in my DMs. So I've had to examine my relationship with the concept of respect. Respect is a privilege, often not afforded to women, black women, much less trans women. So you'll have to excuse me if I don't see what was happening to Deshaun on that panel as cause for alarm, cause to rally the troops. Because oftentimes when I'm in danger and when I need help, it is not a black gay man who comes to my rescue, and that's unfortunate. Because I can remember when I was like 19 years old in New Orleans. I was walking down the street, living my authentic trans truths, because I started transitioning at 14. I had on a two-piece bathing suit, and it was the 4th of July. And I was walking with another trans girl, and, I ain't gonna lie, they was airing her. This was my cousin, they was reading her. But they didn't get my tea, oddly enough. We both walking together in swimsuits, and they didn't get my tea, so they kept harassing me and hounding me. So when we got near the gay club and we both got ready to go into it, they realized, oh, this one must not be what we thought it was either. So they all were getting ready to jump out of the car to attack me. Mind you, I never flirted with them. I never did anything to egg on their feelings for me. I was just wearing a two-piece bathing suit because it was hot. We were sweating in the bathing suit. It was the 4th of July. It was Essence. We were barely 20 years old. And we were just enjoying life and being free. And this car full of black men, because they were turned on, wanted to get out of the car and attack us. And I will never forget Priest, who is well known in New Orleans, well-known black gay man. And Priest did this for me a multitude of times when I was younger. He would always conveniently be in a place where he could defend me. And Priest waved his hand in the air like a war cry. And when I tell you, gay men started coming from everywhere. But it took for Priest to make that war cry. I didn't have the power to summon those gay men to my defense. And I think a lot of times that's what we're seeing as Black trans women. I think it comes out as resentment. It comes out wrong sometimes because we know that we're not the ones who can call y'all together like that unless we subscribe to this idea of a patriarchal God, unless we subscribe to the consistent erasure and diminishment of a divine feminine, of a being who is whole. I'm not fixing to give you the structural, I got a lot of critiques because I don't have the structure to talk about certain topics. I lack the structure. That was another critique I got. But a lot of people who have the structure, this is not a dig, this is a reality. Your words do not evoke the passion that it takes to cause a movement. Your words are too tamed. They lack passion. Sometimes in our quest for knowledge, in our quest for higher academia, we quail the spirit, we quail the soul that really has the power to activate motion and movement. And this is why beings like Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera and Francis Thompson, this is why trans people has historically and historically have been able to start movements and evoke actions because everything wasn't intellectualized. It was passion. It was felt from the soul. And what I want to point out even more so is that in that video, I had critique for Hope Giselle. I had critique for Dominique Morgan. And I called all of the people on that panel beautiful and brilliant. But the only person that I got pushback over critiquing was Deshaun. And it was a lot of Black gay men, mostly Black gay men, in my comment section defending Deshaun. But I said something about Hope, and I said something about Dominique, and no one had anything to say about that. But you did. I even said something about Quay. It was balanced. It was a balance. I said good points and bad points. I didn't tear anyone down in the video, but I had Black gay men in my comment section literally saying, I don't want to support your content anymore. Well, baby, you never supported it in the first place because I don't know you. And anyone who has physically taken the time to leave a comment, donate, I would like to think I will at least remember your icon symbol. Like this, your viewing of my content has never prompted you to financially sow. It's never prompted you to sow a seed, to lay an egg that could potentially birth more resources and access in this work. I just want to bring that up for you. So for y'all who, I want you to understand that this is not an attack on my gay siblings, because y'all are non-binary too. Some of y'all are just boring examples of non-binary, as I said in the prior video. I personally believe we're all whole as human beings. I think that our gay and lesbian people, they are closer to realizing their wholeness. Non-binary is just another way to say whole. It's just the plantation's way of saying whole. We are our mothers and fathers, our grandmothers and our grandfathers, and the beings who did not subscribe to that rhetoric. We are they, them. Lay lim, lay lur, they, them, they, their. We are that. And so gay people and lesbian people are closer to that realization, but a lot of y'all deny it for the illusion of normalcy and proximity to a heteronormative binary system. But I want to wake it up for you today and let you know once again, as I said in the last video, when you decide to put penis with penis and vagina with vagina, you're no longer subscribing to the binary as it was intended. So you may as well go ahead and live your best queer life. You may as well go ahead and acknowledge your mother in your prayer. Acknowledge your mother and your father in your meditation. Move through society in a way that shows that. Because, baby, a lot of folks, y'all is proud to be black, but you're anti-indigenous. And blackness is indigenous. It is aboriginal, original, genius, genetics. It's all of the things and no thing. Blackness can be the void that births the stars that shine. Blackness births the light. Things live longer in that deep, dark space. They hit that sun and the life expectancy, it changes. But they got things that are thousands of years old living in that ocean, protected by that darkness. Things that inherently connect with the divine mother because they are in the womb, which is that deep water, that portal in which we came through to experience life on this plane. But I wanted to just take a few moments to respond to, because I noticed, y'all didn't have no pushback on what I said about Hope. Y'all didn't have no pushback on what I said about Dominique. You didn't have no pushback on me calling Quay a grifter. But I said 1-2 minute sentences about Deshaun. And it was, y'all acting like cis women. Y'all not holding space. Y'all don't really respect our non-binary brothers and sisters. First of all, non-binary people are not identified as brothers and sisters. Now, some non-binary people will allow you to call them cis, because I do. But I know how I'm perceived. And that was the problem with Deshaun. I don't think this person understands how they're perceived. I let you make it with some pronouns because I know how society perceives me. They perceive me as binary and cis sometimes, a lot of the times. I just had a Nigerian on my train ride on the way back to New York the other day asking me how many children I had. That's the first question how many children you got? So I know how I'm perceived. So I do let people get away with the ma'ams and the sis, but in a perfect world, I would hear they thems all the time. I would be called Brister, brother, sister. I would be called Mada, mother, father, or Dama, daddy, mama. And I would hear niece few, which is the fusion of niece and nephew. In a perfect world. But no non-binary person who is really, really striving to be respected as non-binary is around here elated about being placed into a gender box. And so y'all wasn't even defending Deshaun well. Y'all were being disrespectful in your defense. My your non-binary brothers and sisters, your non-binary siblings, boo. And if you think that I don't have no respect for non-binary people, you have not been following my content. One of the reasons why I have uh, problems with other trans women is because I won't diminish non-binary people. I won't put non-binary people down. I have lifted up them. A lot of trans people feel like non-binary is muddying the water, but that's the same way gays have felt about trans people. That's the same way cis people have felt about gays. And that's the same way white people have felt about blacks. So I'm not contributing. That's the same way men have felt about women in their movements. So I'm not contributing to that. I lift up non-binary because at the end of the day, I believe that that's what we all are. Just because you know the pronouns, you speak the lingo, and you studied a few books, that does not give you a pass to think that you about to sit up in all of your self-righteousness and feel slighted over somebody challenging you in a way that aligns with their age and where they are in consciousness. If you are all this, if you have all this intelligence, then where's the grace? Is it emotional intelligence? That's an honest question. Where's the compassion? Where's the consideration for the fact that you do read as a cis man? And this is a patriarchal society that tends to cater to men. Where's that compassion? And I think because so many of you are not tuned in and you're tone deaf as it regards honoring your mothers beyond Mother's Day, honoring the divine feminine beyond their birthdays and Mother's Day and Women's Day, because a lot of you are tone deaf. You go through these rituals and you go through this performative celebration of your mothers. And most time when they get that celebration, it's because they've done something that really low-key supports patriarchy and keeps you in your position of power. You pander to them because you want to stay in power, not because you want to see actual change and evolution, not because you want to see the next generation of human beings be more whole and move from that space. That's not why you support them. Let's be clear. That's not why you lift them up. That's not why you honor them. And a lot of them go along with it because they like the fact of you going off to war and you bringing home the paychecks and you doing the grunt work, you being the workhorse. They love this dynamic. But there were ancestors who did not, and they were erased, they were unalived, they were maimed, they were murdered, they were slaughtered. And I carry that grief in my body. And that's why I speak. Because I'm not fixing to self-destruct, carrying a whole bunch of grief just because a lot of y'all want to pretend that y'all want to stuff it down and pretend like it's not there. I'm not doing that with y'all. Not anymore. I've allowed that to wreak havoc on my body, wreak havoc on my nervous system. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm not carrying that. But I am going to be more thoughtful about how I share, how I communicate, because I understand how this will impact the future. That's all I got. I love y'all so much. Take care of yourselves. All of you, all of my non-binary siblings, all of my trans siblings, my beautiful Black Indigenous siblings, my queer siblings, my non-Black siblings. I love y'all, and y'all be well. Lelem Leler Nation, purple ones, rise.